नमस्ते इन्वेस्टर्स। वी एट स्मार्ट सिंह हैव ऑब्जर्व समथिंग। मार्केट में जो भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स है वो हमारे हिसाब से काफी एक्सट्रीम इमोशंस रखते हैं। सो व्हाट डू आई मीन बाय दैट? या तो सब बोलेंगे कि माइक्रो कैप इज द स्पेस जहां पे मेजॉरिटी रिटर्न्स बनता है, एंड अगर असली वेल्थ क्रिएट करनी है तो माइक्रो कैप स्पेस में इन्वेस्ट करो। या फिर सब ऐसा बोलते हैं कि माइक्रो कैप स्पेस कंप्लीटली अवॉइड कर दो सिंपली बिकॉज उधर कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस स्टैंडर्ड्स गंदे हैं या फिर प्रमोटर्स बहुत डूबियस है। So, through this video, Mr. Atul Raval ji, our mentor, who has more than 3 decades of investing experience specifically in microcap space, will provide his views on how one can assess microcap space and what one should expect while entering into this arena. So, do watch this video.
A common friend brought a gentleman at my place, and he insisted me to teach his daughter, who was in 8th standard, and he was insisting it very hard. So I had to agree to it. But then I was not a professional in that area, so I politely declined to uh, be paid any remuneration for this kind. I thought she was my daughter, and somehow he wanted me to be paid. So he did something. He thought that how I would pay. So he asked me that, okay, you buy these stocks. I was not aware. So I said that, okay, uh, I don't know how to approach, whom to meet with, etc. It was not so easy at that time. There were sub brokers in certain places. So he bought some stocks for me. When I looked at it, he said that, okay, we bought for 17. And after some days, he said, we sold it for 25. I thought it was amazing. No, we were just struggling for some 12% in those days in a year. And how could he find such things where such returns are there? Uh, then obviously I asked that how do you find these things? He said you will always get the juice. You need not worry about the process. Somehow अंदर एक जो कीड़ा पड़ा होता है ना आप में, तो वो नहीं माना कि yes, though I'm interested in juice, but I am more interested in making it myself. So I was more interested in process. Then he said, okay, he was holding a large number of companies in his portfolio. So he said that, okay, I have this many annual reports and you can go through. So I brought uh, a sizable bundle of all those annual reports and started reading. Parallelly, I was doing my MBA. So being an engineer, I did not have any exposure to accounting and related fields. So it helped a lot. So as I went through the annual reports, because that was probably the only material available, authentic material available in the public domain. Websites were not there. And what you read in newspapers, etc., the result comparison also was about 6 months. So maybe a company will declare a result of a half year, and that too maybe after completion of the last date, and it will stretch to maybe 3, 4, 5 months. So by the time, a lot of things would have changed. So this is how I came into the stock market, and then I found that yes, this is something where real good things can be done. The only part was that information was quite limited. Uh, Maybe promoters were not that friendly. There were bigger companies which people talked about, and uh, somehow I felt that with all these bigger companies, A group companies, whatever smaller changes are happening, it is noticed by everybody, and immediately that whatever change comes there, it affects the price immediately. So there was nothing like we can look forward to a long-term perspective and see a seed growing into plant and then tree. So this is how I came into the market and started to learn. Another good part was that by that time, around 20 years back, we had started receiving business standard in Gandhinagar, where I live. So I am an addict. So whenever I go out and if I don't read business standard for 2 days, my family will keep it separately for me so that I can come back and read. So I would say that reading such wonderful things, because if you go through it now, it's not only about stocks. It's a general impression that these pink papers are about stocks. But if you are really addicted to it, you will find that it covers the entire spectrum of economy. And very wonderful uh, columnists are there, which otherwise probably would not find them anywhere, because they may not be publishing their books regularly. So it's a daily dose and you get addicted. Another example was Indo Borax. There were two listed companies in this borax chemical space, Indo Borax and Borax Morarji. The Chinese dumping was so high that they were hardly making any money. So with continued losses, uh, probably they were at the final stage of dying down. So at that stage, uh, maybe the industry approached the government at that time, and government introduced anti-dumping duty uh, for these borax chemicals. By that time, Indo Borax was languishing at around 6 rupees. So it was below par. So normally it happens so that after I should not speak ill of the processes, but yes, some facts are there. That unless some practices are done by industry in dealing with certain departments, they don't get their dues. That was a common concept at that time. So we assume that now with introduction of anti-dumping duty, the fortunes of industry where only two players are listed at that time, it should turn. And in 6 rupees, we were the total that we could lose was 6 rupees. So nothing more than that. And fortunately, it turned out to be with anti-dumping duties in place, the margins started improving. And in about 2.5 years, we could exit at around 180. In the down cycle, again, because it's a commodity chemical, so it went down, and then again, if you right now, if you see, Indo Borax is even much higher. In fact, we had exited because nearly 30x was too good for us at that time. Another very prominent example, two, three examples I would like to quote. One is Kaplan Point Laboratories.
Sorry,
Yes, please.
before we move to the next example, I have a follow-up over here as well. So
Right.
interestingly, you mentioned about 6 rupees, how much low it can go. That is what you mentioned, right? But we all know that ultimately a stock can go as low as say 0.1, right?
Right.
So we can still lose on stock. So what gave you the confidence that the valuation is much lower or growth? Anything more you would like to say on that?
Okay. In such cases, normally I tend to look at the overall net worth of the company. As in case of flat product, as I said, the building itself was worth more than 50 crore rupees. So market cap of 50 crore rupees and administrative building at 50 crore rupees. So company is free. And it was almost debt free at that time. So no further burdens. So in similar cases, at 6 rupees, if you look at the market cap, then entire company is available for peanuts. So at least basically, even if they sell it as scrap, no, at least they would recover 6 rupees. That was the basic idea.
So,
And
so here we have a live example of net, which has been made so famous by Warren Buffett. And we have Atulji over here who is actually using it in his investing. And people say all sort of things that nets are no more available in the market. But if you do the right work and dig deeper, so a clear pattern which I have known in case of Atulji is that he has always met the management or at least spoke to them in all these microcap. I'll come to that portion later on in the session, but we can continue with your other examples, Atulji. Please.
a company called Balaji Mines. It was at around 70 rupees, quoting it around 70 rupees. And then a business channel, news came that Balaji is not doing good. How? The promoters are diversifying into very unrelated area. So they were building they were constructing a hotel. Balaji is based at Solapur. So with this news on business channel, uh, it lost around 15 rupees more. So I was wondering that how a company in chemicals is diversifying into hotels. So we just called up the company and we tried 2-3 times and finally got a guy to talk to us. And then my obvious question was that भैया आप क्या कर रहे हो ये केमिकल में आपका इतना अच्छा काम हो सकता है और आप होटल में चले जाते हो और सोलापुर में 5 स्टार होटल में आएगा कौन? Then he explained that देखिए that's not the matter. We have a land parcel. That land parcel, if we don't utilize, a government will acquire it. So just to save that land parcel, going at peanuts, we need to have something on it. Then we can sell it. So we are as such not diversified. What I could learn was that in such a tiny company at that time, they had 32 people in R&D. So that it was very clear that their focus was on R&D. Especially at that time, not many people were investing in R&D so rigorously. So we thought that, okay, it has already come down 25%. Looking at the approach of the management towards more and more R&D, and they have not really diversified into unrelated area. And yes, they would be good. So we'll keep talking about the developments. So we bought a few, and then we regularly kept in touch with them till the time it reached 500. Then we never required to talk because then by that time it was on radar of many fund houses and all other big investors, and they had started with con calls and everything. So we were happy that the further journey was being pulled by them. Fortunately, I'm still holding a part I have encashed, but still I'm holding a Balaji mines there, and now it is growing more and more. Another example is Kaplan Point Laboratory. While going through the annual reports, I could read that they had some other current liabilities constantly increasing. With my limited accounting knowledge, I referred to friends that what is this other current liabilities? So the response was that it could be customer advances. So in a space where people do business on credit, if customers are paying advance, they must have some product so that people are queuing up. We checked a lot on various websites and other available material. Finally, I could find an advertisement with logo of Kaplan Point. The advertisement was in Spanish, and it was for a compound called sildenafil citrate, which was a basic drug for Viagra. So, and at that time, lot of spams were coming in emails asking for such drugs at much reduced price. So Pfizer was selling it for maybe $9 a piece. As against that, obviously their cost must be very, very low. And there are a lot of buyers in especially Latin markets. Then we could see that they have a different business model. Normally, in any space, people produce something and then go to sell it to somebody who requires it. The Parthiparans are, as he has narrated in many of annual reports, the basic idea was to sell something, to produce something which was selling. And if they don't produce, buy it from somewhere and sell in the markets. Another very important aspect I could see was that in pharma, most people were trying for regulated market in US and EU, Europe, where stringent conditions were applied. there were inspections and a lot of cost of failure associated with it. If some patent infringement would occur, then the legal cost would be very high. As against that, this company was driving its sales in registration markets of Latin America as well as Africa. So that was quite interesting at around 60 rupees. And fortunately, it came out so. And ultimately, I'm still holding the Kaplan Point Laboratories. It's about 7 years and almost 70 to 3,500 rupees. So it has rewarded us very well.
Hope you liked the video. If you wish to watch Atulji live and learn more from him, then you can join our exclusive Chintak Baithak session this Sunday. Now, although Chintan Baithak is a session conducted by Mr. Atul Ravalji only for our Mission Smile community. However, on this auspicious occasion of Navratri, we have decided to keep this session free for all, only this month. So do join this session on Sunday. Thank you.